Hey, what's going on, everybody? In this video, I'm going to talk about free agents and upcoming players that could be getting traded here during the offseason, which starts really soon. It starts like right after the NBA draft, which is this Thursday in 2 days. So all this coming up extremely fast after the end of the season. And I love making these videos on players or moments I'm looking to buy. Haven't done them too recently because the market's just kept sliding, but now it seems like it's stabilized a bit. Some people think it's going to drop after this finals legendary pack, but we'll see what happens with the market here. But still can make money flipping moments around free agency and trades because they're just insane spikes when players get traded or signed some big free agent deals. So obviously we have Jonas Valanciunas up here, and if you don't still think this is a thing, I'll show you what happened to Jonas Valanciunas if we just come over here to add more funds, which I will link down in the description. Best tool for looking up players' moments over time, in my opinion, just because they give you a great graph to look at. So you can see Valanciunas past 7 days, pretty big spikes, 40% spike, 16% spike, 7% spike. Obviously he was traded to the Pelicans, which puts him in a better situation than the Grizzlies because he gets to play with Zion, and he's going to get on TV a lot because he's playing with Zion, so just gives him more exposure. Not saying the Pelicans are a better team than the Grizzlies because they might not be, but we can just look at what happens to his moments after he's traded. So I'm opening up his graph, his lowest ask history. So basically they give you every hour of every day what the lowest ask was for that hour on NBA Top Shot. And you can see this moment was at $5 for I don't know how long. We're on a 7-day graph. But for the entire 7-day graph, it was $5. And then the moment he was traded, this one went up to $8, $9. So nearly doubled in price. And the thing with news like this of trades and them going to better situations or good situations, or even if it's just the news of the trade, their moments just spike in price because I don't even know exactly why this happened, that it's going to be a really good situation. Maybe there's just a lot of new Pelican fans that want to get their new player. Who really knows? But for a couple hours at least, it spikes. So from 2 p.m. until 6 p.m., it held $8, $9 and then went down. Now it's sitting at 7, as you just saw. When something happens like this where they nearly double in price like that, I'm just going to be selling them in the next few hours after the big spikes. So what we're going to talk about in this video is trying to buy players like this before they get traded, and then we can flip them. Obviously, if you have them in your collection already, you can do the same thing of flipping them. And then even if you like Valanciunas, you can just buy them back later. If you sold them for $9, I'm sure this one's going to go back down to $6, maybe $5 again, and you could sell again. Same thing with his debut moment. If you believe in it a little more, it went from $28 the couple days before to $36, $40. So bigger dollar amount increase, not as big as a percentage increase as a 15K moment, but still a pretty big increase. So to find some of these players, I just typed in NBA free agents 2021. Obviously there's articles here, top 20 free agents, top 50 players. This one actually would be probably pretty good. Getting 50 players you could target here, but I kind of like this Spotrac, their free agent tracker. It just gives you every single player, and you can see right here if they're restricted or unrestricted. So a guy like Chris Paul and Kawhi Leonard, they have player options. They could stay with their current contract and their current team, which I would think they'd most likely do because Chris Paul is making $40 million a year, and he would have to opt out of that. And then Kawhi, I think, just wants to stay on the Clippers. Then you get down to some unrestricted free agents. So like Mike Conley could be a guy, but in my opinion, most likely he's going to be staying with the Jazz, which He's not going to sign for more than $30 million with the Jazz, so signing for a lesser amount of contract probably won't move his moment too much going to the same team. But then a guy like Kyle Lowry, who seems like he's likely to get moved somewhere else in free agency, so he could sign with the Lakers, which would be huge, or the Heat. Anything like that would definitely boost his moments. So if we come and look at Kyle Lowry, so a lot of people that don't have too much money to invest in one moment may think just go for 35K or 45K, but these are tough to get moved up even $1 or $2 just because there's so many. There's 40,000 of these. Actually, we opened up 35,001, but still in this, there's so many to move just $1. If you look at all the fives here that need to be bought in order for this one to go to just $6. So even if he does get moved and a lot of people are buying this up, I don't even know how long I've been scrolling now. It's probably over 100 have to get bought up to move it up $1. And then there's probably another 100 at $6. And after a fee, you're making less than $1 on this one. So I'm not targeting 35K or 40K moments for this strategy. I'd more likely go with like his debut, but Lowry, obviously a debut is insanely expensive and it's at a 1,500. And then for some reason, Lowry doesn't have a 15K moment or a 12K moment or a 10K moment. So it's pretty slim pickings with Lowry here, but like this one for $52, if you can afford that, that would be the one to probably go for, just because this one's a little more expensive. It just depends on your budget. But anything basically besides the 40K and 35K would be good for this strategy. Coming back here, one I really like is Demar Derozan. Seems like he's almost guaranteed to be out of San Antonio. It sounds like he wants to win championship now, and I don't think he can do that with San Antonio. And there's a ton of interest around him in the league. We're looking at, like, again, the same kind of teams, Lakers, Heat, and he'll probably get a pretty big contract from one of those teams. So I do like DeRozan a lot, and he has a lot of good moments to pick from. So looking at DeRozan, he has a $6 15K moment, which I could see this one going up to $10, $11 if he signed with a really good team. And then he has a 1,500 common moment that's just $40 right now. And even his debut out of less than 3,000 is only 83, so pretty affordable to get in on DeRozan pretty low. And then once he signs with a team that's not the Spurs, which I think is probably like a 90% possibility, it's almost guaranteed that these are going to increase at least $15 in my opinion, just because if we look at his debut moment here out of less than 3,000, for this one to move just $15, how many of these have to get bought? You can see on my screen here, we're looking at like 7 or 8 that have to get bought. And to get from 83 to 94, it's only about 8 to get bought. And then there's a few 94s. But after that, to get this to 100, you're looking at like less than 15 of his moments have to get bought for this one to go from 83 to 106 to jump up $23 versus the 35K moment. There was like 200 had to get bought for it to jump up just $2. So a lot easier for these to increase in price and then spike like insanely right after the news happens. And like for this one, I would be targeting a price around here, around 110 probably, after a couple hours of the news breaking and a lot of people just scooping it up. You could probably buy it now for 83 and list for like 110-ish, and I think would be pretty safe call, and to make $20-30 just on this one. So there's not a ton of great free agents actually out there, but another one I do like, which I don't even know where he is on this list, is Lonzo Ball. The thing about Lonzo Ball is his moments are pretty high right now, I've noticed. So if we come look at these, we're looking at $12 for his 15K, which DeRozan was $6 for his 15K, so it's already double. But then his debut is pretty affordable at 64 versus DeRozan was 83, but obviously DeRozan was less than 3,000 and this is 4,000. But if I was going to target Lonzo, I would probably go with this one because his 15K is already pretty highly priced versus his debut. I do own the 15K, but I think that this one has a chance to move more. And it looks like it's a 95% chance he's going to get moved on from the Pelicans. I mean, if he joins his brother on the Hornets, this one's going to skyrocket. If he gets a fat deal from the Bulls, which I've heard Clippers, I've heard Heat. There's just a ton of options for Lonzo, and everyone seems like it's going to boost his moments up. So then switching gears here to players that are looking like they're going to get traded or are in trade rumors, and are players who I don't mind investing in anyways if they don't get traded, but if they do, it's really going to skyrocket their moments. So it's going to be a guy like Marvin Bagley. He just has had so many injuries. Obviously, he was drafted second before Trae Young and Luka Doncic, and his debut moment is just $31. I do own this one, but I could see this one taking off if he was shipped out of the Kings, really anywhere. I think this one would bump up to like at least $40, and then who knows? Even if he stays in Sacramento, he could have a good year if he's not injured, and this one could go up anyways. So I like Bagley as an option. Some other guys are the Wizards guys, so Westbrook and Beal are rumored to both be traded. The Wizards could just blow this team up, especially if Beal requests a trade here. He probably won't request a trade until the Olympics is done. I think he's still on the Olympic team. He might have bailed off from COVID, but I'm not exactly sure. But Westbrook, his playoff moment is $8. Beal's Seeing Stars is 16, which Beal's debut is only 105, which is a little steep, but there's definitely some investment opportunities in these players. I would probably actually look at the Westbrook's playoff right here. Looks pretty good, or maybe this one. I think this was a reward for request. It looks pretty affordable at 15, and then the Seeing Stars actually maybe your best bet for Beal. Some other under the radar guys that people don't really talk about but could get big deals and go to teams where they expect them to do a lot more than they have in the past. It's going to be a guy like Kendrick Nunn. I've heard there's tons of interest in him. He could get a pretty big deal, and he's pretty cheap. His playoff moment is $5 here, and his 15K moment is just $3, while his debut is just $48. So pretty good value here for Nunn, and a lot of teams are expected to try to sign him in free agency to pretty big deals to probably be their starting point guard. Pretty under the radar guy there. And then another one is Reggie Jackson, who still has some pretty cheap moments out there. So his debut is only $6, as well as his playoff moment is $6. I would probably go with the debut over the playoff just because he has that badge, but obviously did really well in the playoffs, and either the Clippers are going to sign him back to a big deal, or another team's going to sign him to a pretty big deal to be their starting point guard. And I would just think any of those things happening is going to boost the value of his moments by probably double. So I'm liking Reggie Jackson as well. All right, so let me know what you guys think about all this. If you're going to target any of these players, if you have other players on your mind to target going into free agency and the draft when all the trade and madness can happen. So if you like this video, definitely check out other videos on this channel. I have a lot similar to this, and I'll catch you guys in another video.